The new draft constitution, there is about 2.7 million Egyptians living outside. That's according to the International Organization on Migration. But other reports are scaling this number up to 8 million. But if we're looking at the average, definitely we're looking about a number between 5 to 6 million of expatriates. Usually turnouts, when we're speaking about expatriates, are in thousands, but they're not huge turnouts when it comes to referendum. That's my trend analysis. We're joined today with Walaa Wasfy. She's a researcher in political awareness. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for your show. Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Walaa.
Hello.
What about the draft constitution? Have you read it as well?
Sorry.
Did you read the draft constitution?
Yes,
already?
I have read it, and it's about 247 articles.
Yes.
I do agree with most of the articles, and I got into many negotiations about certain articles, but what I would like to talk about,
yes,
the promotional campaign for the referendum on constitution. In any promotional campaign or any political campaign, if I'm going to talk about the presidential campaigns or parliament one, the candidate has a competitor. So I will attract voters to vote for that one instead of that one because he's much better. The constitution, we don't have a competitor for a constitution, just we have benefits that we will gain from saying yes about the constitution.
But don't we have competing supporters for different sets?
Competing supporters,
yes.
Yes, because there are a lot.
A set saying yes and another set saying no.
But the campaign target the voter to say vote by yes. I would like to add something to a campaign. We have to be neutral and
yes,
talk in the positive side and the bad side. Yes, the constitution is very, very good, and there's a lot of articles that really is amazing. Human rights, women's rights, health. Everything is covered in that constitution. So it's a strong thing and a strong material that will work on and will help Egypt. So I don't need to, the political campaign may affect it in a negative way. And that's what I want to talk about today, that don't target the voter to say yes. It's a quite strong enough thing to defend itself, to talk about itself and say, to attract people, voters, without targeting them to say yes. To say yes by its own materials
itself, yes,
and own articles. That's why
makes it sound like you don't have that strong of a document,
yes,
rather than having something that you're really confident of.
Yeah, if we are right, you said, if we are confident enough of that constitution, I wouldn't tell you say yes because it's good. It's talking about itself. But we are doing that, and I would like to explain why media and promotional campaign do that right now, because we cannot ignore or neglect that there is a great number of Egyptians that they are uneducated, and they can read it well. So, but they are voters, and their voice for me and their voting is an initial number, and I have to respect them. But how do I target those people? I can't tell them read the constitution and understand everything. So I'll tell them to say yes, to live in peace, to continue to have a political stability in Egypt, to continue the roadmap, to go to achieve so and so. Instead of that, maybe something missing. I would like to talk about from my own education and research about the promotional campaigns in politics in general. I have to make it clear enough. My message from the constitution should be short, clear, and brief to the normal, even uneducated Egyptian person. Which I mean that we can come up every day and describe in a neutral way each and every article in a normal language, the language of the Egyptian man in the street, describe it from the government, not from private channels. What I would like to see that yes, this thing is done by private channels, whatever the programs are. They invite.
So publishing the constitution itself and publishing it with maybe not actually an expensive way to be buying a copy of the constitution for about £2, it's not
yes,
enough by the government to do that.
Sure, because the normal Egyptian citizen in the street, the one who is not uneducated, don't have awareness, that political awareness especially. How can I trust that he will get that copy and read it and understand it briefly. Maybe educated people will not understand it enough. How I ignored the uneducated, and they are a number of voters that I have to respect. So use media as I use banners in the streets, vote by yes, as I use banners and advertising on television to say yes. I have to add to that description from the committee,
Yes.
description from a trusted committee, not private programs, not public figures who come up and describe, because each one has his own point of view. I don't want to go into the debate say, for example, that doctor has a vision and he described that article in that way, and another one came up and talked and described it in another different way. So that will affect a part and that will affect a part, so we will have a division. That's why the committee should have done a description for the articles in addition to the book we buy or the pamphlet we buy about the
But I guess the state-owned television actually does that, writing the articles on television and trying to explain which article means. This is not enough?
Not enough to put a program daily. It's to
explain each article, not just to be saying.
Just taking 5 articles per day in a normal Arabic language, the language of the men in the street. This article talks about so and so and so and so. You will gain so and so. I have to describe it in a normal way to attract the voter, to increase his awareness, to let him say yes instead of targeting him to say yes.
To be convinced upon going to the polling station.
Without really understanding the Constitution. So if I might ask you, since you have read the Constitution, you're a follower, what are the top things that you think are really the highlights of the political charter, and what are the the least things that are really concerning you about the Constitution?
For me, I'm not aware of the law of Constitution. I'm going to talk about that, from my own personal view. What I like about the Constitution, the positive change, the parliament elections, that it refers that the presidential elections will be before parliament elections, and it will be from 30 to 90 days after the Constitution, and this is from my own studies.
But that's a very interim article. It's not going to be something permanent to live with the Constitution for years.
Yes.
It's going to cover a certain period. But what about the long-term articles or things that really you think are highlights and exceeds the expectations over what we have seen prior in comparison to 2012 Constitution?
Yes, the main thing that I have found out, the comparison, how to choose the defense minister. At the beginning, the president has the right to choose him directly. Yes, had the authority and right to choose him directly. Nowadays, there is a suggestion from the military system to suggest 3 names, and then the president choose from that 3 names. Nowadays, I think I got into negotiations about that articles with many people, as it will make a division somehow. Why especially those 3? Why especially? Also, there is a great negotiation about that article. But another article is women's rights, human rights, health, education, especially the scientific research. And this is a very important point for me. An article, it's give a part and a fund to the scientific research in Egypt. Really, the Constitution is written in a very good way, and the probability to the referendum on the Constitution to be by yes, it's high. But what is much better is to apply it. You know. Yeah,
the laws that follows the Constitution.
The laws and the people who will apply it and the people who will use it. We are, maybe I don't want to say that we are brilliant about writing great things, and yes, it's acceptable and hopeful, and it becomes the Egyptian citizen dream. But when we come to reality and apply it, we are not applying that.
So if we put the 2012 charter or the Constitution of 2012 in comparison with the current draft Constitution of 2013 or 2014, which one would be better?
2013, of course. Although the same situations that happen at, we'll talk in a neutral way again,
Yes.
the same situation that happened at 2012 is happening nowadays at 2000.
More or less about the Ministry of Defense and
Yes.
more or less about also the authority of the President.
Yes, and both of them, and the people, and the division in people, and the division in voters. The division in voters, they, Muslim Brotherhoods, and what we are facing nowadays, and bombs everywhere, and explosions, and violent scene, all that they were doing the opposite, you know. Yeah, last year, the
They're
Constitution.
losing popularity
Yes,
one day after the
use
other.
and
with the
talk and
Egyptians.
come up with the slogans that will cheer up Egyptians to
Yes.
join and peace, and they extremely doing nowadays, extremely different. On the other hand, if we are going to talk about the Islamic politics, we will see Salafiyya. They are supporting constitution and their role. Maybe there is a great question mark about their role that they nowadays they are enjoining the referendum on the constitution. They are promoting for it. Hope
They did the
really.
same in 2012. They did the same in 2012.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is the question mark that I would like to say, that you are doing the same at 2012 and 2013. Hope your actual work will be matching your promoting idea, not only joining the political
Although the
environment.
2013 draft constitution is actually banning the formation of political parties on religious basis.
Yes.
So that's actually a disadvantage for the
That-
Salafist party.
And although to that they are
Yes,
joining
and
and
they are
promoting.
supporting the draft.
Yes, as a members, but and they are facing MPs nowadays and accusing them of causing a lot of violent scene. But I would like to talk about the normal Egyptian citizen. I would like to be neutral in all my talks. That we have, I don't like to target a certain thing. I would like to tell him to read very well. If you are not aware very enough, ask two trusted person for you to describe it. The constitution is the first step for the political stability of Egypt.
Yes.
We must seek for political stability, then to have a presidential elections and parliament one and change in ministry to get out of all that.
So let's close it at this good note. We'd like to thank you very much, Walaa,
you.
for joining us.
Thank you.
It has been a great pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
And with this, we come to the end of this edition of Nile Cruise. We'd like to thank you very much, and I'd like also to thank Ahmed Nader for joining me.
Thank
very
you
much, Ahmed.
very much, Sharif. And don't forget to follow us on Nile Cruise, on Nile TV, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google+. And we'll leave you again with the band Hosanna to be closing the episode for today. Thank you for watching.